Hello again. For part 2, I want to show you how I make notes for my class and also how I write tests for my class. I use the Smartboard software to write my daily class notes. So what I've done here is I've pulled up sample class notes so that you can see what something might look like on a regular basis. You can go into your Smartboard file and I type this in every day, and then I can pull in different icons from the gallery. That's something that I recommend that you take some time and look through the gallery. This little picture icon over here on the left has different things in it. I mean, anything you can imagine is in my gallery, and they're updating it all of the time. If you decide that you want to put one of these items in the gallery, into your content, which is just another folder here, then you right click or you click on it and you click on the little down arrow and you say add to my content. And then when you look in your content now, as a background and theme, I have that lined paper. Or maybe it's a notebook file. As background and theme. So I have that paper now in here. So it's just really helpful to have my content and to have all these items in my gallery so that you're not constantly searching for them. If there was an item that you needed and you weren't sure where it was in gallery, you can go down into the search and type in whatever it is that you're looking for, and you can search for it, and then looking into related folders or the pictures, here are all the different things with dog. So it's just really, really helpful. And if you need to put this picture into your notes, you just grab the picture and drag it into your notes, and there it is. And in reverse, if I've created a picture in the notebook file, like this circle for example, and I want to put this circle into my content because I use it all of the time, I just click here and I can add it into my content like that, or it's probably just easier to grab it and drag it into my content just like that. And now it's in my content as a picture right here. So here's my circle picture in my content, and if I need it again, just drag it back over, and there you have it. Very, very helpful feature, the gallery, and especially my content. Let me show you this homework balloon. I call it the homework balloon. It's just a balloon that you can pop, and then you can have something underneath it hidden to show. That's one other thing I want to talk about is this right now. Look at the dog. The dog is on top of the light bulb. If I want the light bulb to move and be on top of the dog, I click the light bulb, and using this down arrow key, I can click on that and go into order, and I want to bring the light bulb to the front so that now when I drag the light bulb, it's going to go over top of the dog. It's really helpful. And the thing that I like the most probably about the notebook software is that you can move anything anywhere that you want, and that's what's really helped me when I go to create tests. Let me show you an example of a test that I've written. Before, I would try to format it and make it real pretty in Microsoft Word, and it seemed like I would take more time to format it in Word than I would actually writing the test itself. With Smartboard software, it doesn't take any time at all. You just go in and type it, and then you can move it around as you need to. Notice this problem I'm able to move. But if I go up here and grab this stuff, I can't move it. That's because I locked it in place. So over here on the right, if I unlock, now I can move this part around however I need to. A lot of times with math, or with any questions, I have multiple parts. So when I look at question 2 here, and I click on it, you can see I locked it. First, let me unlock it. And then, what I've done also, there's actually multiple parts here. Let me ungroup this so I can show you the multiple parts. So you can see here, we've got this part, and one part of it. Here's the other part. Where did that 12 come from? Somehow I'm hiding the 12 because I used the eraser here, I think, or the white pen to cover up parts that I didn't need. So instead of, as I put them in as separate parts, but I don't want to leave them as separate parts. I want to be able to group them together. So I select everything, and I right-click on any one of these, or I click on any one of these, and then I can go into grouping. And as I group them now they are one. And when I move it around, it's going to stay together. So if I needed to change problem 2, put it at the end of the test, I group it together, and then I can copy it and paste it onto a new page. Very, very nice feature of the Smartboard software. Something else I want to mention in terms of taking notes, a lot of times we might have notes that are in maybe a different file, a Word document, or in this example, a PDF file. And as we're taking notes on here, we have two options with the Smartboard software. If I needed this particular problem here, let's say problem number 3. If I needed problem number 3 in my notes, I could go to the capture and actually capture problem number 3, like I showed you in the last slide. I can capture problem 3, and now problem 3 is going to be in my notes, right here in my notes. Okay, that's one option for me. Another option for me is in the Adobe file, I can actually just grab my pen and do problem 3 right here in my notes. I can write it right on here. 1/2 x plus 4 equals 5 to the third. And I can work out the problem here, and then up in the upper right corner you can see the different options. This option allows me to take a picture of this entire screen, and it's going to insert it in my notes. So I click on that, and then when I go back to my notes, you can see now that whole screen is now in my notes. And let me grab the pointer key. It's all one piece now. I can move it around as I need to. I can make it smaller. I can make it larger. I can flip it. I can do anything I want to do to it. So don't just think that you have to have it in the Smart Notebook. Well, you can put anything in the Smart Notebook that you want to put in there. Really, really nice feature. Let's go back and check to see that we've talked about everything we need to talk about for the second slide. So back to our notes here. During the first slide, we went over the toolbar and just some basic features. Here we talked about gallery. Talking about text for a second. When you look at the text here that I've drawn, it's all the same font, it's all the same color. That doesn't have to be the case. If I wanted these bottom two to be a different color, I highlight them, and then here in my font bar, I can select whatever color I want them to be. I can change their font. I can make these bigger or smaller if I want to. I can make them bold, italics, whatever I need to do. So it's really, really nice feature of the text menu. We talked about the white pen, and we definitely are talking about the recorder as we go along, so let me minimize that. I use the Smartboard software, and I teach 2 classes of geometry, for example. I also teach 2 classes of pre-calc. But just thinking of geometry, for 3rd period geometry, I'll have our notes. I open the notes, and we go through class, and we take notes on here, and I save them for 5th period. So my choice during 5th period is I can use the notes that I've already taken, maybe using the screen shade to just show a little bit at a time. That's one option. Or another option is I can erase it entirely and start over. Or I can use different squares or circles and cover them up. If I make a circle here, and I want to cover up problem 4, I go in the circle or the oval, click on it, go into properties, go into line style or fill effects, and I can make this a solid purple circle that now is basically acting like a screen shade. It's covering up different things that I want to cover up. So it's all saved in there. Whereas before, we're writing it on a chalkboard, we're writing it on an overhead projector. We have to either come up with a new slide, write it all over again, write on top of it, erase it. This is really nice to be able to just save from the last class and just show what we want to show. Or we can start all over again, however we want to do it. It's up to us. So what I would like you to do now is write down a couple ideas that we've talked about that you might want to try, or write down a couple questions that you have, and maybe Dr. Hype can answer them, or if you would like to email me, he's got a handout with my information on it. You can contact me with your questions too. And in our next slide, we're going to talk about how to save these notes in and put them on the web. So take the next couple minutes here while he prompts the next slide and jot down any ideas or questions that you might have.